it's not that big.
Hello and welcome to The Hash for Monday, March 8th. It's me, Zach Seward. I'm joined by Naomi Brockwell, Ben Powers, Jen Sanasi, and special guest star Anna Baidakova joining us from Russia today. How you doing, Anna?
Hey, amazing to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. Let's kick it over to Naomi for the first story of the day. Naomi, what do you got?
What have we got? All right. So it's called Operation Hidden Treasure, and one might surmise from that it's something very cool. Turns out it's not. It is a new program initiated by the IRS to root out unreported crypto income. So we heard about this from a Federal Bar Association virtual tax conference. Sounds like a barrel of laughs. And there was a director of the Office of Fraud Enforcement, Damon Rao, who said that they are instigating this operation to find unreported income. They're mainly going to be focusing on fraud, though. So the idea is looking for patterns like a series of transfers just under $10,000 so that it goes below the reporting threshold. So it does seem that the IRS is clamping down in this area and starting to go after the crypto space more and more. We've seen in the past that they have been sending out letters to crypto holders saying, hey, you may or may not have reported your income. And they got a lot of flack for that regarding overreach. So I'm going to throw this one to the team and just see what your thoughts on all of this are. The crypto tax world is really, really complicated and we're still trying to figure it out. Ben, actually, Zach, you got your hand up there. So let's go straight to you.
I got my hand up. I'm a good boy. I think that crypto tax reporting in the U.S. could stand to benefit from a lot more clarity. It definitely seems like the IRS is ramping up efforts on this. So, just last week they put out a little bit of guidance that was strictly fiat to crypto purchases of, say, Bitcoin don't necessarily need to be reported as a taxable event. Other things clearly do. They're clearly moving up this question, do you own crypto in 2020, to the top of the tax reporting document. So that's a major step, signaling their interest in making sure they're getting this right. I don't know. There's still just so much confusion here. I mean, like a crypto tax software firm raised $100 million to sort of maybe become the TurboTax of this space. And I think we still need more clarity on how this works. And I think as tax season ramps up, we're likely to see more of these stories come out. I'll toss that to you, Jen, for the perspective from up north. What do you got?
Yeah, well, I don't really deal with the IRS a lot, thank goodness. But I did go down a little bit of a rabbit hole when I was reading the story, and exactly what you were saying, Zach, like frequently asked questions say one thing, but the instructions on certain forms say another thing. And it's really, really, really confusing. So I'm just really interested to see how they're going to crack down on this. And the story just seemed pretty scary. I mean, I think there was a quote in the article that was just like, said, "We see you," which just reminded me of a horror film. Like, the IRS is coming for you. They see you. So I don't know. I'm going to toss it to Ben. Ben, I know you had something to say. Hopefully,
I think Anna had her hand up, so maybe we'll go there.
Yeah, jump in here, Anna, and then I'll talk.
I just had a thought. Like, I'm curious if they also gonna be able to go after all this like DeFi farming stuff that is done in a decentralized way, and I think it would be like a pretty tricky task to track that. So all these like crazy APIs, like crazy money made out of farming. Will IRS get those? This is what I'm curious about.
Yeah, I think this is just kind of another example of, government regulations, policies, and not to mention a clear articulation of those policies really lagging, behind the development of tech here. And for this one, yeah, Zach, kind of my first thought was like, what would be great here is a really clear and simple articulation of, what the tax code is around these things and how people can best comply with that. I think a lot of this is, if it's underreported or not reported, that reflects a lack of understanding about what has to be reported, because, we have to create firms raising hundreds of millions of dollars to just address this single issue, which shows how complex and confusing it can be. I understand why the IRS might be doing this, but it's going to be really hard to walk that line and not try and just scare people off from crypto entirely. And they have traditionally not been, the nicest people when it comes to that and encouraging its adoption. So we'll see where this goes.
And it's super complicated on so many fronts. Like, for example, airdrops are taxable. So, I mean, I've had a wallet in a cold wallet storage for years. I don't know what's been airdropped to that account. I haven't even accessed that account, right? So, like, people are expected to understand like what's been airdropped. Like, if you've ever used a Ledger wallet, for example, you actually have to download the specific wallet. It doesn't just show up what's in your wallet. You have to download the app. And if they don't support it, how do I know what's actually gone to that address? So there's so many things the IRS hasn't factored in that complicates this scenario. And exactly the point, like if we're talking about DeFi, like it may get to a point if they're super serious about this where they start tracking IP addresses and they actually start going after people, because we all know the internet is not secure. It is very easy to trace people's activity to them. But the problem is it requires resources, how devoted are they going to be to this? How much are they willing to spend to go after these people? Because it's super complicated. It is going to require a lot of resources to do this.
And, we've seen over the last year or so, these dribs and drabs of contracts with various blockchain analytics firms coming out, be it with the IRS or other federal agencies. So, they are ramping up and getting their consulting ducks in a row in terms of having the technological chops to potentially track addresses and again, find the hidden treasure that U.S. taxpayers are keeping under lock and key. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, tax season, it's tax time is upon us.
It sure is. So get going, guys.
Cool.
Zach, let's,
Hey,
hand over
sorry
to
guys,
you.
I dropped the handoff there. That's called a fumble. So we're gonna go to the next story of the day.
Sports ball.
The next story of the day is PayPal confirming what CoinDesk first reported last week, that it is buying crypto custody tech provider Curve. The amount not disclosed, but as reported by my colleague Ian Allison last week through unnamed sources, PayPal is indeed beefing up its tech chops on the crypto custody side of the house. So, we already talked about this. I think it really signals that PayPal is serious about bringing their crypto services to more and more people in more and more jurisdictions. And I think this is a key arrow in that quiver for them to accomplish those goals. I think also, I want to broaden it out a little bit. I think this also signals, the beginning of crypto M&A season for 2021. As big institutional players embrace this asset class and roll out services related to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to their customer base, they're going to need these tech solutions to make it happen in a way that is safe, secure, and compliant. So I guess I want to toss this over to Ben. When you see this news being confirmed, what is your first take as to where things stand in the market right now?
Yeah, I think it shows a certain level of market maturity, right? You're seeing, these firms get valued quite highly. You're seeing big players acquire them. We all reacted when CoinDesk first reported that PayPal was probably getting in to the crypto game over a year ago. You saw markets react to that and that get a lot of traction. And so this just kind of shows maturity in my mind, because you're starting to see these companies function like in parallel to some more traditional markets that we might have seen. So I think there's going to be opportunities out there for firms that are really kind of not nascent, but have been native to the space for a while. And this could just be the first in a long line of it. But, Naomi, what do you think?
Well, the biggest thing around PayPal and crypto right now is that you can't withdraw it. You can't use it for anything. It's not really crypto in that regard. So as we start to see, PayPal's own involvement in the crypto space mature, I'm interested to see where that leads. Like, as we start to be able to pay for things, the whole point of PayPal is as like a digital form of payment on the internet. You use it to make purchases every day. That's why people use it. So it is very clear that that's the direction they want to go in regarding crypto and getting people using it for purchases. Are they going to start rolling out some tax software to help people when they then have to report that at tax time and figure out what the capital gains are for everything? It would be interesting, because that would actually be kind of cool, like I'm all about holding my own crypto and doing everything myself, being my own bank. But if someone made it super easy to do all the reporting, that would be a very cool service.
Yeah, so this, this is a 40-person team roughly with a major presence in Tel Aviv, Israel. But yeah, bringing in those tech chops on the crypto custody side should enable PayPal to sort of innovate more quickly and into more markets. Anna, I'm tossing this to you because I'm curious for your take from Russia. What's the chat around PayPal's crypto service? Obviously, it only serves U.S. customers at this point. They announced fairly recently that it would be rolled out to, I think it was the U.K. within a matter of months. What's your take on what PayPal is doing as it relates to their crypto service?
Well, I would say that there wasn't that much hype probably about PayPal in Russia and Eastern Europe when the news came. Not many people are using PayPal here because we have like other ways of sending monies electronically. PayPal is mostly for overseas transfers, like if you need to do that. So, I personally, I'm still like, okay, they acquired another custodian. What does it give to a user actually? Like, would an ordinary user feel the difference because you still can't withdraw the crypto that you can buy with PayPal? It's still with the PayPal treasury, and you're like seeing some numbers on your screen, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great question. Robinhood famously rolled out its crypto service and similarly didn't allow sends outside of its walled garden until very recently, I think sort of 2 years into their experiment. So there is a timeline in which maybe PayPal rolls out similar functionality, and having in-house tech shops to accomplish that maybe accelerates that, but that's all speculation at this point. The other things, I don't know. I think I'm interested to see PayPal really double down on this service. They're clearly investing in it. I'll toss it to you, Ben.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, like, I think what this does do is this is kind of like signposts that point towards future action. And that's how we can start reading them as we see this play kind of happening in a variety of different ways. Like you said, Robinhood just recently allowed crypto withdrawals. And, this signals that PayPal may one day go that route. But the more instances we have of companies doing M&As like this, it can tell us about their behavior in the future. And that's when that like roadmap is very clear. I think it'll give us a lot of value, not as consumers, but also as a, market overall.
Yeah, I think also just points to some other crypto custodians who have been involved in rumor acquisitions in recent months. BitCo, chief among them, reportedly turned down as much as $750 million from PayPal and rebuffed that acquisition attempt. So they're having success going at their own. Fireblocks is another one that's very prominent that is reported to be working with BNY Mellon on its crypto custody service that was announced not long ago. So I think these crypto native custodians who know the tech and know how to hold these assets well are really in the catbird seat when it comes to crypto M&A over these next couple months. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Naomi, any other takes here?
I mean, I'm excited to see what happens. I got into crypto because I want to see some alternative to government money being a popular thing in society. I think PayPal is a giant mover there. If you actually look at the origins of PayPal, that's what they wanted, and the government wouldn't let them. They wanted to have like an alternative to the dollar, and then the government said no, so they had to kind of pivot and then start doing like this, we'll just do it between banks type thing. They weren't really allowed to hold their own like PayPal dollar as they wanted to, but now they're getting involved with crypto, so it kind of takes them back to their roots in a sense.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what mainstream adoption ends up looking like. All right, we're going to leave this segment here, and we are going to tease the next segment. It's all about NFTs and a lot of crazy stuff in NFTs. We had Jack Dorsey, we had Banksy, and now we have Taco Bell NFTs. So stick with us and come back and watch the hash after that. Okay, thanks.
So the wild ride around NFTs continue. The universe obviously heard me say that I was tired of them last week and said, hold my beer, let's double down. Because Jack Dorsey has now minted his first tweet as an NFT, with bidding coming in right now, I believe at 2.5 million. The Banksy piece that we discussed last week, in which a piece by the artist Banksy was burned by a group of people that bought it and then minted as an NFT, sold for over $300,000. And then today, Taco Bell, the esteemed Christie's of the fast food world, decided to jump in on the action and start selling NFTs of 5 different tacos, I believe. So I'm even more tired now, but I want the group to weigh in. Jen, as our pop culture and NFT consultant, what you got?
When did I become the NFT consultant? But anyways, I'll run it.
Congratulations.
Well, my first question is, does anyone want a taco NFT? Like, I just want a taco.
I
and maybe
want that
some
taco
fries.
to last forever on the blockchain.
I just want to eat it and enjoy all of its deliciousness, and maybe not own a digital version. I don't know if that's what it is. Ben, maybe you can tell us more about it. And I was actually surprised to see the Banksy painting go for so much. I know we watched the video on this show last week, and I said a little part of me died inside because a Banksy painting was being burned in front of my eyes. And I really just hope this doesn't lead to a trend of people burning really valuable paintings from iconic artists. That would be really, really sad in my eyes. I think some other people may look at it differently. Oh, there's the video again. The control room just hates me.
Just to hurt you,
so I hope it doesn't point towards that, but it's really cool. And I want to know where people are getting all of this money from, because I would like to participate, but unfortunately I don't have hundreds
Zach,
of thousands of dollars.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it was the I forget which silly NFT story it was, but there was one story, and I think it may have been, I forget what. But, I think, Jen, to your question about where the money is coming from, remember that this is priced in ETH. And a lot of people got ETH early when it wasn't necessarily worth what it is now in dollar terms. So everyone has the point at which they value that ETH in dollar terms. And hey, there was, I forget what story it was, but it was like the tagline of one of the accounts of this pseudonymous person who bought a ridiculously large, you know what it was? It was the Dogecoin NFT. It was the Dogecoin, the flying Dogecoin cat. And his bio said,
we managed to get Doge into the segment. I love it.
Thank you. We're out here doing God's work. So his bio on the thing, or their bio on the thing said, my dad gifted me 5,000 ETH back in 2017, and the rest is history. Perhaps cheekily, but like it gives you a little bit of color as to who is well capitalized to the point of being able to spend lavish sums on Burton Banksy's and other and other works. So remember that, Jen, that people value ETH differently based on when they purchased that asset to begin with. Ben.
Yeah, I mean, I'm convinced there are no more silly NFT stories, Zach, because every time I think we've reached the peak silly NFT story, a new one comes up. Taco Bell most recently. So I've kind of just completely lost my bearings about what is an important development with NFTs here, other than maybe the price points or things like that, because they've spread to food. Like, where are we going next, Naomi? Tell me.
That's a great question. I think that we do need to deal with the new reality, though. Like, I totally understand where you're coming from, and the people I speak to all feel the same way. They're all saying, this is ridiculous. I don't really get NFTs. What's the value there? Is it just like a signaling device to have a thing on your Twitter, and the thing you're actually showing off is actually just the hash because anyone can just copy the digital side of what you have? Like, it's this weird world. But honestly, this is where the future is going. We live in a world where most of the interactions we have are digital. Most of our lives are in the ether. Mind the pun. And so what we're dealing with now is like we've figured out this world, like how to have digital assets that can't be reproduced. And so people are going to lean into that more and more. Like when you go to McDonald's, when you used to get those little figurines as a kid and they're like Happy Meals. I don't know if America had the same things that we did. But you used to get these little toys. Like it seems clear to me that you're going to start to get like NFTs. You're going to start to get like game icons you can use in your favorite video game. You're going to start to get all of that stuff, or maybe like tokens that you can buy things from McDonald's with. All of this stuff is what the future is going to look like. We have Kings of Leon that came out with their album. Again, digital assets. We used to be in a world where you had physical CDs. Now people are just releasing things and streaming them and releasing MP3s. And now we're doing NFTs. It's like the next generation of digital assets. And it seems inevitable. So I'm sorry to break the bad news to you, Ben. You're going to see way more of this. Just going to keep going.
Get on board.
And weigh in here.
Yeah, just was like following up on what Naomi just said. Like if in the future we all live in a virtual reality and you go on a date with somebody on the blockchain, you probably will have to buy them an NFT taco.
It's true.
This is the only use case actually I can think of about the NFT taco. So
no, I guess I'm curious too how the market.
Go ahead, Ben.
No, I'm just curious about how the market's going to settle right now, because it seems to be swinging so wildly at the moment based on like the price of ETH going up. And so, if this is going to be kind of a staple of the world and we're going to use it for a variety of different things, from digital images of tacos to like representing a painting to a NBA clip of something with Top Shot. Like, I just wonder at what point those prices are going to stabilize, because right now I don't know what that looks like. And if we can't, have some predictability factored into the pricing here, then I don't know how we're going to be able to use these for practical services. But maybe that's just my thought, and that's where we're going to have to pause it for here. But speaking about the NBA, Jen, what's going on over there?
Ben, I love that setup. That was great. Okay, so coming off the heels of NBA Top Shot, the NBA has created a blockchain advisory committee. Now, the committee includes the likes of Mark Cuban and Joe Tsai and other billionaire owners, and their mandate is to explore the ways to integrate blockchain in across the league. So they're not only looking at crypto payments. We know a few teams are accepting payments in crypto, Bitcoin, and we learned last week that Cuban's team is accepting Doge. They're looking at different ways to get into gaming and betting, and obviously NFTs. So Zach, as our in-house sports aficionado, sports fan, tell me what the story tells you. Or like, I think the NBA is like the most progressive league. I don't know if you think that.
I think that's true. I think the NBA is definitely the most progressive league, socially and technologically. I think
what
this
about
indicates
bobsledding, Zach. We had Doge bobsledding years ago.
Bobsledding, they're the worst. They're so the international. We don't want to talk about them, Naomi. No, I think NBA like is quick to like act on the moment. I think really what it says is that this market is so hot that they can't not pay attention to it any longer. NBA Top Shot has become a multi-million-dollar concern, and I think people are trying to find ways to one up that and capture some of the value a bit more directly than letting other companies in the ecosystem do that for them. So we have our Dogecoin person, Mark Cuban, and the Dallas Mavericks on there. We're going to be seeing other experiments around this stuff, I'm sure. And and it's not the first time, right? Like, I remember, we covered, like, I think he's left the company, but the CTO of the Sacramento Kings was a longtime crypto geek and had actually been mining Ethereum within the arena in Sacramento a number of years back. So it's not the league's first dalliance with crypto and blockchain. But it certainly speaks to the hype around this thing right now, as catalyzed by Top Shot. Ben, what do you got?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think what stuck out to me here is because, my brain is overloaded with NFTs, is they mentioned that they weren't necessarily going to be only looking at NFTs for this. They were looking at like a wide array of products and how they could integrate it into the NBA's like kind of back end, whether that be ticketing sales or whether that be something else where, obviously a blockchain-based ledger would be helpful. And that to me was interesting because they kind of seemed, if I was reading the article correctly, and maybe I wasn't, to be veering away from the NFTs and into other use cases. So that's what stuck out to me here, just because if more people get involved in the NBA, particularly with the platform it has, talks about this in a relatable way, you might see people become more familiar with it. It's also like an opportunity, and the article pointed this out, that like there's a bunch of NBA players relatively involved in crypto. I mean, you saw Spencer Dinwiddie try to tokenize his contract, and Andre Iguodala, another player. There are about 5 that are invested in Top Shot themselves. So I think this is a logical progression, but I'm curious to see where this goes as something with potentially more staying power than the NFT craze that we're seeing right now. But hey, maybe I'm just bearish on NFTs.
You wish the NFT craze didn't have staying power, Ben.
This is me putting it into the universe in the hopes that it will happen, but that is unlikely. I got to agree with you there, Miami.
It is interesting to look at the backgrounds of the people who are on this board. And it's kind of like this, this very powerful board of billionaires looking at the future of digital assets and blockchain technology and looking beyond just Flow and Top Shot and things like that to other applications. Like we've got Sai, who owns the Brooklyn Nets, who's also the co-founder, executive vice chairman of Alibaba. Leonosis owns the Washington Wizards, but is also an early investor in Dapper Labs. You've got Pagliuca, I have no idea if I pronounced that correctly, co-owner of the Boston Celtics, you pronounce it, I believe. I don't know much about sports. Is the co-chairman also
is dying
of
inside right
Bain.
now.
Bain Capital, and Sweeney, who is minority owner of Utah Jazz and the youngest member of the committee, is also a venture capitalist focused on tech and computing. So they're very much in the tech world, in the crypto world already. So it's like it's a kind of a powerhouse team that they've got there. Let's see what happens from this.
Yeah, it's funny to think of like the real world, like post-COVID use cases around ticketing. I know that was something that had been explored through various partners. I think again with the Kings, actually, they tried to demo this thing a couple of years ago. I think what Top Shot does is it kickstarts the adoption cycle a little bit more, right? If everyone has a wallet and everyone can sort of figure this out now, all of a sudden there's these applications from ticketing to retail to concessions that may also be blockchain powered. And don't forget the Taco Bell. Don't forget the Taco Bell synergies here. I mean, we could be seeing a lot of taco NFTs administered at NBA games in the future, Ben. So I just want you to keep that in mind.
All different flavors.
Is this the future of Taco Tuesday, Zach? Is this the future of Taco Tuesday?
Could be. I just know about Dollar Hot Dog Night at the Oakland A's Coliseum back in the late 90s and early aughts, and I hope we have hot dog NFTs soon.
I hope so too. We're going to take a pause there, and coming up after the break, we're talking about companies that are going all in on Bitcoin, and I mean all in on Bitcoin. Pretty exciting stuff. More details on that to come.
I don't want hot dog NFTs.
Hey, it's Zach Seward and the Hash. We're 4 people now. We lost Anna due to technical difficulties. We have nothing to talk about. We're going to end the show. We can't go on. They say the show must go on, but it simply cannot. So thanks for sticking with us today. That was the Hash for Monday, March 8th. It was really great. I'm Zach Seward. We got Naomi Rockwell. We got Ben Powers. We got Jen Sanasi. And a big thanks to Anna Vaidakova for tuning in place of Will Foxley. We'll be here again tomorrow. Stick with us. And if you want to watch more CoinDesk TV, do so at 3 p.m. Eastern, all about Bitcoin. Okay, everybody, let's all say goodbye on 3. 1, 2, 3. Bye.
Goodbye.